The transfer portal continuing to pop off even as we're on the air right now. I'm sure there's more names that are probably jumping in or maybe announcing their intentions to enter. So when we get some news, we'll tell you. But Patrick Payton last night announced his intentions to enter the transfer portal. So to be clear, the star edge from Florida State has announced that he plans to enter. At the time of us being live, I do not believe his name is officially in the transfer portal. He's extremely productive. I mean, last year he had 13 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks, 6'5", 240. Now, what I've been told is he would like to stay at Florida State. That's what I've been told. What this is to me, or what I've been told that this whole thing is, it's a negotiating tactic, and he would like to be paid, is again, what I'm being told. And the thought is, well, if he were to go in the portal and go somewhere else, he could get a pretty high value to be somewhere else. And he would like to be paid a certain, to a certain degree, and would like to be taken seriously with his, level of pay he'd like to receive. So that's kind of the rumblings on him. Again, that's what I'm hearing. Can't confirm that, but that's what I'm hearing. Regardless, wherever he goes, if he stays at Florida State or he goes somewhere else, he is a star. Okay, Florida State fans, you saw his impact and what he was last year for your Noles. Like, dude is a ball player, okay? So whether he stays at Florida State, whether he goes somewhere else, he has the ability, in my estimation, to take over games. Big-time player. Very, very big-time player is Patrick Payton. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep you in the loop there. Raheem Rocket Sanders announced that he plans to enter the transfer portal. This is a big back now. 6'2", 240. First-team All-SEC guy in 2022. Was dinged up quite a bit this past season. He's got 1 year left. Now, he's from the state of Florida. And we always say this whenever guys jump in the portal, right away you start looking at, okay, well, where are they from? Where did they, go to high school? Where's family at? I keep an eye on the Florida schools by nature of, where he's from. He's going to have a lot of options. All right, this isn't one of those guys where you have to take a chance on him and say, well, he didn't really pan out somewhere. We got to bring him in here and maybe he can fit in our system. You know what you're getting in Rocket Sanders. His resume speaks for itself with how productive he was and, again, being an All-SEC guy in 2022. So he's planning to enter the portal. We'll keep you in the loop there, but he will have a fair amount of options when he does end up in there. Now, this guy has officially entered the portal. Tight end Jake Johnson from Texas A&M, 6'6", 240. He was the number 2 tight end in the 2022 class. Now, he's got 3 years left. So you bring in Jake Johnson, and it's not okay, we got 1 year with him. You can work him into your offense. He can be a leader in that locker room for you. He can help those young guys as he, goes further and further into his time on campus. Extremely productive in 2023, 24 catches, 4 touchdowns. And I think in modern college football, having a tight end like a Jake Johnson is becoming more and more of a need and less of a luxury. Having a chess piece that you can split out in the slot and can also put his hand in the dirt and block somebody. We're seeing that across a lot of these elite college football programs like a Georgia, like a Michigan, having 1, if not 2 tight ends that you can flex out and put safeties and linebackers in a difficult position or a mismatch. It's becoming something that I think more so of a need than a want to compete at the highest level. So he'll have his fair share of options as well. The obvious school to watch here is where his brother just committed to all but a couple of weeks ago, I suppose. Max Johnson committed to North Carolina. I'm watching North Carolina here pretty heavily. Now, keep an eye on this, too. They may not necessarily be a lock of a package deal, but that has to be the school that you would imagine gets a little bit of juice. Also, Jake Johnson, worth noting, he's from the state of Georgia. So you never know if the Bulldogs will be in play here, too. Keep an eye on that. Staying in College Station now, LT Overton, defensive lineman from Texas A&M. He plans to enter the transfer portal. Again, plans is the key word there. Not officially turned up in there yet. 6'5", 265. If this name sounds familiar, it's because he was at one point in time the number 1 recruit in the class of 2023. All right, then he goes ahead and reclassifies to 2022. He says, you know what? Prom is for suckers. I'm going to go ahead and reclassify, graduate a year early. Dude was still a 5-star in the 2022 class. Okay, they only give out 32 of them. So to still be a 5-star after reclassifying says something about his ability. He's got 2 years left of eligibility. He is a stud. Given in the right system in place to develop and flourish, he can be a ball player for you. So keep an eye on him. Obviously, extremely talented. Will be a dog somewhere, wherever he ends up at. Clemson cornerback Toriano Pride was a top 10 corner in the class of 2022. He's currently the number 1 cornerback in the transfer portal. Okay, so he's going to be a guy that I think has his fair share of options as well. Going back to the whole conversation around modern college football, it's becoming increasingly important too with how these offenses will spread you out and put you out on the sideline. You got to have a corner that can play man-to-man coverage and live on an island. Toriano Pride could be the answer for some of these schools. Now, here's some commitments that we got now. I told you a lot about the portal latest and guys jumping in. We're getting to that part of the year now where we get a little bit of juice around these commitments. Dominoes starting to fall. Chris Tyree transferred from Notre Dame. Now he's landed at Virginia. Okay, he was a running back and a wide receiver at Notre Dame at different points in his career, transferring to Virginia. This makes sense. Again, going back to the whole hometown thing. He's from the DMV. We talked about Maryland being a factor potentially. He's going to Virginia, so he'll be a weapon there. Chris Tyree is someone that, when he entered the portal, we went right to the hometown thought around him because there's no school that wouldn't need a Chris Tyree. Someone who's explosive with the ball in his hands, can return punts for you, has proven he can play running back for you, can play receiver for you, so big get for Virginia. The quarterback dominoes now starting to fall. You got Tyler Shuck saying, you know what, year 7, baby. Let's go for it. Let's run that back one more time. Let's play football, in the words of his commitment tweet, in the words of his now head coach, Jeff Brom. We got to put some respect on Tyler Shuck's name, man, because I think this is a dude that has been maybe underrated in some ways. He hasn't been able to really stay healthy, but when he's on the field, the dude's a ball player now. He's got a completion percentage on his career of 63%. In a Jeff Brom kind of offense, we've seen what he can do with quarterbacks. I think this is a sneaky big get for Louisville. Now, also, talking about dominoes, when it comes to some other quarterbacks that are looking for spots. Now, remember, Louisville was in the DJU sweepstakes, or at least they were rumored to be in that sweepstakes. Kyle McCord, he jumped in the portal on Portal Monday, and now, you maybe thought Louisville could be in the race for him. They've got their guy, so now the plot thickens when it comes to DJU, potentially Kyle McCord, and some of those other quarterbacks. So the dominoes continuing to fall. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.